You heard the rumors about Dr. Umar Johnson allegedly being arrested, all because he been scamming and scheming for the past 20 years. He been working on building a school, but he acquired millions and the school's still not up and running.
Now, according to IRS Form 990, the filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, with Jermaine Shermock. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar Shermack. It's Jermaine, okay?
The FBI just hit Dr. Umar with a thunderbolt of bad news, fresh federal charges that could put him behind bars for a long, long time. We're talking about RICO, tax fraud, wire fraud, the kind of charges that usually crush people before they even know what's happening. But here's the wild part. Investigators are claiming they've got cold, hard evidence, linking every shady-looking move back to the donations he was pulling in for that school project he's been talking about. They're saying the very money folks trusted him with is now the center of this entire storm, and it's looking messier by the day. Dr. Umar's not just worried, he's scrambling for air because this isn't the type of heat you can smooth talk your way out of. And now the whole community's buzzing, asking one dangerous question. Is Dr. Umar really playing everybody, or is he caught up in a setup so sharp it could trap anyone?
And the bank told me to enter my 16-digit card number. I did that. They told me they had no record of my account. They had no record of my account.
Before we even dive into the charges, let's rewind to the exact moment Dr. Umar realized the cuffs were closing in. And wow, he did not handle it smooth at all. He jumped on Instagram Live, eyes wide, sweating bullets, and went off on a furious rant about how the system is trying to destroy an innocent black man just trying to uplift his people. Now, usually his speeches feel polished, almost like he's putting on a performance for the crowd, but not this time. His voice kept cracking, his tone was shaky, and his whole vibe was unsteady, like the fear was leaking out of him with every word. It wasn't just noise for attention. You could see a man breaking under pressure, staring at something so real it shook him straight to the bone. And the stuff he dropped mid-rant, pure chaos. He screamed about his accounts being locked up, stressing that he couldn't even touch his own money. That detail right there is explosive, because those very accounts are now smack in the middle of the federal fraud case that could bury him for years to come.
Like, Dr. Umar is not a real person that anybody should be taking any advice from. I hope that we all understand that, but it seems like some folks are surprised.
What most people didn't catch at first was that Dr. Umar filmed that Instagram meltdown right after the feds told him point blank to turn himself in. And if you watch that video close enough, you can literally see the exact moment it hit him. His entire empire was crumbling right in front of his eyes. Sources say he eventually surrendered, but not before warning his inner circle to keep everything under wraps. No mugshots, no press statements, no dramatic headlines, nothing that could hit the media and rip apart the image he'd been building for years. He knew the second cameras caught him in cuffs. The story would flip instantly, from community leader to exposed scammer in the blink of an eye. But here's the twist. His nightmare was already loading because the feds had something deadly in the chamber, leaked documents spelling out every detail. And just when it looked like he might sneak under the radar, boom, Tasha K entered the stage. And if you know Tasha, then you already know she never shows up empty-handed. She shows up with the kind of receipts that make headlines explode. In her latest YouTube bombshell, she didn't just run her mouth, she tore into Dr. Umar's so-called charity and ripped open that school project with surgical precision. And here's the kicker. The FBI's own indictment lists those missing donations as prime evidence for the fraud and racketeering charges. Tasha lined it all up with documents, figures, and details that the feds themselves are banking on in court. She exposed how Umar allegedly siphoned donation money to fund his personal lifestyle, then dodged accountability by refusing to properly report it, skipping out on taxes at the same time. And that right there is why the feds have him boxed in with no escape route. When Tasha laid the evidence out, the numbers spoke louder than words. The math told a story that left no room for excuses, just a brutal picture of what's been going down.
Lock him up for decades.
Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifa Tunde and myself until my bank account is frozen, or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal.
For years, Doctor, Umar has been hustling for donations to fuel his dream school. But here's the crazy twist. He never once put his own money on the line. Every single dollar came from the public, from people who gave out of hope, trust, and belief in his big vision. And the shady part? Umar has never been straight about how much cash was collected or where it really went. Instead, he jumps online, puffing up his chest, demanding that African Americans walk away from public schools and pour their money into his plan. Plenty of folks caught on and called it what it looked like, a straight-up money grab. Even the school's name raised suspicion, since Umar claims he's a descendant of Frederick Douglass, though he's never proven it, and the actual Douglass family has never once stood behind him. Still, despite the red flags waving in the air, countless people still gave their hard-earned dollars, buying into the dream he was selling with so much passion. So the burning question is this: after all those years and all that money, why are the school doors still locked? Every time an opening date gets close, Umar suddenly drops another problem out of nowhere. Some call it bad luck, but now with everything unraveling, it looks more like he's been the one pulling strings to drag out those delays. And here's where it gets even wilder. Prosecutors are now pointing to one of those so-called delays as evidence in the federal fraud case. Back in June, Umar announced the school was vandalized, but the damage wasn't anything structural. Instead, he claimed the library, cultural items, and supplies were trashed, just enough to push back the opening once again. To sell that story harder, Umar even posted a video online where he's pressing a group of kids on camera, acting like they were behind the vandalism. And here's the scandal: he filmed and uploaded those kids without any parental consent. That stunt alone sparked outrage and made the whole thing reek of being staged, like he was working overtime to keep the fraud under wraps while painting himself as the victim.
Listen closely as she breaks it all down, because the figures paint a very clear picture of what's going on.
Now, according to IRS Form 990, the filings reveal disturbing financial irregularities, okay, with Jermaine. That's how he files it. He doesn't file it under Dr. Umar. It's Jermaine, okay? Now, the nonprofit shows assets of $634,436 as of 2024. This is what he's saying that he raised. This is what he reported. Okay. Now, you know, he go begging inside of that car without a haircut every other day or on the side of the building in which he lives in, because they say his house is right there on a row house in Philadelphia somewhere. Okay. According to the IRS filings, this is inconsistent reporting of contributions. Okay. Now, while official filings show that only $321,408 in total contributions over the last 5 years, evidence suggests Johnson raised significantly more through other channels.
For context, Dr. Umar has been soliciting funds to build and open this school for years.
Police couldn't even lock down what really went down with that so-called vandalism. The only evidence anyone ever saw was that shaky little clip Umar posted himself. And let's keep it real, the damage didn't look anywhere near bad enough to justify shutting a school down for an entire year. People instantly started side-eyeing the whole story, and one viral comment nailed the energy perfectly. Where's the proof of this vandalism? Were charges filed? Were you insured? Why haven't you posted even one photo? Or is the real vandalism you and this entire project? Another person pointed out how Umar's claims about frozen bank accounts didn't even line up with how the financial system really works, like his whole story was unraveling in real time. Then a few weeks later, the real truth about the mystery vandalism slipped out, and suddenly, Umar had no cover. Turns out, he hadn't even been paying basic property registration fees and utility bills. Because of that, the building was already flagged for auction. Reports revealed the property was set to hit the auction block by August 25, 2025, unless Umar came up with the overdue payments fast. So what did he do? Classic Umar. He flipped into defense mode. He tried to spin it like the fees were punitive and discriminatory, claiming the state was scheming to shut his dream school down. Then he dusted off his old playbook, jumping online to beg for more donations while painting himself as a victim of a system out to crush him. But here's where Tasha K's reporting made the mess 10 times worse. She revealed Umar wasn't just scrambling for sympathy. He was allegedly using these dramatic stunts to duck serious jail time. And then came the real bombshell: leaked federal documents exposing Umar's PayPal hustle. That's when it became crystal clear. The feds weren't circling for no reason. They were moving in for the kill. According to the leaks, Umar had allegedly raked in over $1.5 million through PayPal and GoFundMe, all under the banner of charity work. He pitched causes that were supposed to uplift the Black community, but to this day, nobody can point to where that money went or what any of those so-called projects ever accomplished. And every time the public pressed him for receipts, his move was always the same. Another dramatic video shouting about how the system is coming for him, warning people not to buy into what he calls lies. But now, with documents, numbers, and federal charges stacking up against him, those excuses were starting to sound less like truth and more like the very scam people feared all along.
The school. Mind you, he posted that video without the consent of the kids' parents.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters. I'm back again. While I was on the live, the children had snuck into the school, which means they knew the door was unlocked. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. For children to know that a door is opened, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know that the door was open, and I was only away from the school for 30 days. For children to know the door was open and I was only away from the school for 30 days, I wonder when they broke in. I wonder when they broke in, because if the children already know the door was open.
For a long time, Umar's tricks seemed to keep folks hooked, but eventually, the questions got too sharp and he couldn't dodge them anymore. That's when Charleston White stepped in and turned the heat all the way up. In one of his latest callouts, Charleston didn't bite his tongue for a second. He straight up accused Dr. Umar of using emotional blackmail to prey on Black women who trusted him. According to Charleston, Umar's entire playbook is built on smooth pandering, acting like he's the ultimate ally to women in the community, delivering speeches that pull heavy on their emotions. But Charleston claims the truth behind the curtain is way darker. He says Umar's real goal is simple, emptying their wallets while keeping them hooked with promises and fake loyalty. Charleston painted Umar as a man not just misleading his followers, but actively manipulating them with charm and guilt to keep the money pipeline flowing. And that accusation sent shockwaves through the community.
He's reported GoFundMe campaigns, all right, that he's been suspended from through 2014 and 2015 of over $400,000 raised before the account suspension. That's a lot of money for GoFundMe, okay? PayPal donations, approximately $125,000 documented. Speaking fees and direct donations, estimated $750,000. This man raising all this money and ain't got a haircut yet. Total estimated funds, 1.6 to 2 million that they can account for. And this is with them digging. They've been on this, okay? And we're going to talk about how much they've been on this. And that's the reason why that damn school is on the auction block right now. Vacant school that never opened. And he promised to open it in 2013 and kept pushing back the opening date and blamed us. Well, not me, y'all, if y'all donated, as to why it can't open, because Black people can't stick together, okay? Even though he was running it like a mom and pop shop.
These tactics worked for a long time until more and more people started asking him questions he couldn't answer.
A school that still hasn't been built after all these years? People are heated, and they're not holding back anymore. They're pointing out that nobody has ever seen a single working classroom, not even a flag flying out front to prove the place exists. The whole situation is starting to look like a running joke, with folks clowning Umar for talking big but never showing the receipts. Think about it. After years of collecting donations, what do the people really have to show for it? Just empty promises, endless delays, and excuse after excuse. Meanwhile, the so-called school is still sitting there like a ghost project, a symbol of dreams sold but never delivered.
You mentioned Umar Johnson, and I don't know what's going on with his school, but I know that
you know what's going on with the school. It ain't been built. Shit, ain't nobody seen the classroom. Just seen the flag hanging out, flying in front of that.
He's been talking about it for 15 years, 16 years or something like that.
Yeah. He been lying. And results is everything.
Yeah.
Results is everything. I ain't never built nothing begging other than Joel Osteen, but his daddy passed him to church.
Yeah, that is true.
His daddy passed. I ain't never seen Feel nothing begging.
Turns out Charleston White wasn't bluffing. He was right on target. Dr. Umar walks around like he's the ultimate ally to black women, even tossing shade at men like Jonathan Majors for dating outside the race. But the moment women start pressing him with real questions, his mask slips. He flips the script and starts disrespecting them. That double standard has folks fed up, and the backlash is only getting louder by the day. What makes this wave of criticism different is it's not just his usual haters calling him out. It's people who once defended him with everything they had. Supporters who used to scream his name are now demanding receipts, pulling their donations, and quietly unfollowing him across social media. Some even went public, flat out branding him a crook and calling him a possible criminal. And then came the bombshell. His longtime ally Tariq Nasheed finally broke his silence, and he didn't sugarcoat a thing. Sitting down with DJ Vlad, Tariq admitted that at first he believed in the school dream and genuinely thought Umar's Pan-African vision had potential. That confession was huge because if even Umar's closest allies are starting to sound like the FBI, then the fraud narrative is sticking harder than ever. Tariq even confessed that he personally dropped serious money into Umar's project, but his faith started crumbling once Umar got addicted to chasing clout instead of building classrooms. The spotlight, the endless drama, the conspiracy talk, it all became the mission while the real vision got lost in the noise. That's when Tariq began pulling back, realizing the man he once respected was losing his way. And then came the breaking point, their fallout. Tariq said he tried to pull Umar aside, reminding him about the bigger picture, but Umar brushed it off and kept chasing attention. During that interview, you could see the disappointment all over Tariq's face, like he was finally admitting the ugly truth to himself. In his eyes, Umar isn't the visionary he bragged about being. He's just another shady operator running out of excuses fast.
When he was talking about that school about a decade ago, I was for it. I donated to it. And a lot of people, every time Umar does something, they would tie me in.
Really?
Oh, they would always
I've
tie
never
me
heard
in.
about this.
They would
Okay.
always tie anything he did. Hey, Tariq, what's up with Umar? Because I put Umar on. He wanted to use that notoriety to get money for the school. I'm like, hey, I'm all for that. But then when people start seeing all of the excuses, people start getting skeptical, and people start always coming to me, man, what's up with Umar? You and Umar in y'all school. Hey, I don't have, hey, no, y'all school. No, it's not y'all school. No, but you had them in your movies. They just tie me in, and I can't. I said, look, to be honest, I don't think the school is happening. I said this about around 2017, and Umar we fell out because he started kind of attacking me publicly. And, I helped the guy
Tell
get
the truth.
Yeah, he started attacking me. And then I'm like, I started getting in on him. So we fell out. And, I told people back in 2017, I said, let me keep it a bean, man. That school ain't never going to get built. That's just, don't ask me about it again. That's my opinion. It ain't going to get built, man. Just if it's going to get built, it would have been built already. It don't take that.
Here's the real twist, Dr. Umar didn't just land on the FBI's radar yesterday. He's actually been under their microscope for years without even catching on. And the first strike against him, it wasn't even about money. Way back in 2018, the State Board of Psychology hit him with accusations of practicing without a license. That wasn't just embarrassing. It cracked open a pattern of deception that the feds now point to as proof he's been running questionable plays long before the school scandal even exploded. And just like clockwork, Umar did what he always does. He denied everything and flipped the script into a victim story. He cried foul, claiming he was being unfairly targeted, even saying Facebook and GoFundMe suspended his accounts for no reason. He used it to whip up sympathy, and sure enough, some folks fell for it. But the truth was already spilling out, and the receipts painted a whole different picture. Videos started surfacing online showing Umar acting like a licensed psychologist, dropping heavy jargon and handing out expert advice like he was official. He even self-published his book, Psycho-Academic Holocaust: The Special Education and ADHD Wars Against Black Boys, pushing the idea that schools were misdiagnosing kids as a way to discriminate against the Black community. That book gave him credibility and made him look like an authority. But just a few years later, he flipped again, claiming ADHD and mental illness weren't even real. That contradiction exposed him as less of an advocate and more of a manipulator, switching up his message whenever it benefited him most. So when federal investigators finally dug deeper, they saw the full puzzle. Doctor, Umar wasn't the intellectual leader he painted himself to be. He was stacking illusion on top of illusion. The unbuilt school, the so-called frozen accounts, the psychology hustle without a license. Every scheme he thought was buried is now sitting front and center as Exhibit A in a federal case. Now the walls are closing in fast. Former supporters are pulling back, prosecutors are piling up evidence, and the FBI isn't letting this one slip away. Unless Umar pulls off a miracle nobody can see coming, his future doesn't end with a ribbon cutting at some academy. It ends with him walking straight into a jail cell.